what's up? Welcome to Foul Line to Field Goal. I'm your host, Peter Parker, and today we are going to be talking about the AFC's top teams all losing in Week 1. Crazy. To get us started, I think we'll be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. That was the first official game of the year. It was a Thursday night game. The Chiefs did end up losing to the Lions 21-20. Crazy kind of outcome, I think, especially with the Chiefs playing at home, getting their rings and everything like that. It was not something that I think a lot of people expected. The Chiefs were without Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is their top tight end, their top receiving threat, and Patrick Mahomes, even being Patrick Mahomes, and I think, what everyone kind of understands him to be is the league's best quarterback. Missing Travis Kelce was a really big piece of them losing, really not being able to put up a lot of points, really not being able to move the offense, I think, as well as Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes had hoped that they could move it. A lot of their wide receivers dropped a lot of passes, so whenever they get Travis Kelce back, I'm sure he'll be welcomed back. I think he was practicing this week, so we'll see how the offense looks when they go up against the Jaguars for their next game. Also missing from the Chiefs on the defensive side of the football was Chris Jones. He was holding out for a new contract. He did indeed get that new contract. Obviously, it was after the game, and he only signed for about a year. But Chris Jones is one of the Chiefs' best defensive linemen. Surely he could have made an impact in the game, but he didn't play, and I think the Lions being able to kind of move the ball almost at will kind of showed just how important he is to that Chiefs defense. And I think everyone kind of expected the Chiefs to kind of be at the top or near the top in terms of the AFC and basically competing for another Super Bowl title, even though they are the defending champions. So I think the result is surprising, despite them not necessarily having their best players out in the field. Kudos to the Lions, obviously, because they did win the game. It is the Lions. Lions haven't exactly been the league's best teams for a really long time, so you got to give them credit. They did beat the Chiefs, who again are expected to be one of the AFC's top teams at home. So it's something to give them kudos for and give them credit for. But the Chiefs have another game. Their next game is Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars I consider the Jaguars a top team in the AFC, so it should be a pretty good game. I think it's a rematch from the AFC Championship last year. AFC Championship. It was one of the playoff games last year. The Chiefs and the Jaguars. The Jaguars did do pretty well in that game, so it should be pretty exciting. Again, I think Travis Kelce should be back for that game. Chris Jones did just sign, so they should be relatively at full strength, the Chiefs, and we'll see. It is Week 1, so you don't want to put up too much stock into it, but a loss is a loss. It does count in the win column, so we'll see. So the next team that we'll be talking about are the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals were in the Super Bowl just a couple years ago. They've got Joe Burrow at quarterback, and Joe Burrow I would consider maybe the second best quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. He's beaten Patrick Mahomes a couple times, obviously, to get to the Super Bowl. So he's done pretty well for himself in the short period of time that he's been in the league. I know that he just signed a massive contract, and that massive contract didn't necessarily seem to help him out on Sunday. So they played the Browns on Sunday and they lost 24-3. They didn't put up a touchdown against the Browns, and I know the Browns have a really good defense. Myles Garrett on the defensive side of the football for the Browns is no joke. He's a monster, and it just did not look good for the Cincinnati Bengals. I know that Joe was dealing with a calf injury earlier in the offseason, and he did get a lot of playing time, so that may have been a contributing factor to how he looked in the opener. But you've got no shortage. He's got no shortage of weapons, and putting up 3 points in Week 1 just kind of seems crazy. it seems like that's something that just shouldn't be, especially when you have an offense like Cincinnati's offense that should just be capable of scoring almost any time that they want to score. Again, I know the Browns have a really good defense, but we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, who I think have won that division for a couple years in a row now, so they're pretty established at this point. And again, that kind of comes out of nowhere for me. Cincinnati Bengals are going to be fighting for that, for that top AFC seeding in terms of getting back to the Super Bowl. Obviously, winning their division, they're behind the 8 ball in their division right now because the Browns are also in their division. So it's a divisional loss. It's almost like a double whammy for them. But the Bengals are going to be fighting for those top AFC seedings, and a Week 1 loss is not going to be doing them any favors, especially that kind of loss. So we'll see how they rebound going into Week 2. Hopefully, Joe kind of finds his footing, and I think maybe we'll chalk up his Week 1 performance. He didn't even throw for 100 yards. We'll chalk up Joe Burrow's Week 1 performance to, I guess, just keep knocking off some of the rust, because again, he was hurt. He didn't play almost any in the preseason. He didn't play at all in the preseason, excuse me. And he probably didn't practice, just nursing back that calf injury. So calf injury still may be affecting him. We don't know, but he did play, and that loss is definitely something that he kind of has to take accountability for. And we'll see. I'm very hopeful. Again, they're my pick to win the AFC North. So I'm hopeful still. Alright, so the last AFC contender to take an L in Week 1 were the Buffalo Bills. I know they played the Jets on primetime and on Monday Night Football, and the Buffalo Bills lost in overtime. They lost 22-16 in overtime, and unfortunately for the Jets, who I think a lot of people would have considered to be title contenders with Aaron Rodgers, they lost Aaron Rodgers to a huge injury 4 plays into the game, which is kind of crazy. So shout out to Jets fans. I know losing the quarterback that you guys traded for and were hyping up 4 plays into the season really sucks, but you did come out with the win, so that's a positive. You came out with a divisional win at that, so that's also positive. So it kind of gives you guys a little bit of a leg up to kind of figure things out. But on the other side, with the Buffalo Bills, dang, that's pretty much all you can say. I know Josh Allen has been kind of thrown around in some of the MVP conversations. He's supposed to be one of the top tier quarterbacks. People consider him to be a really elite. Elite is the buzzword these days. People consider Josh Allen to be an elite quarterback, and he threw 3 interceptions in the game, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things for Josh Allen. One of the biggest things for the Bills in general is just to avoid the turnovers. And as long as Josh is not turning the ball over, they're a really good team. They have a great defense. We saw how great their defense was on Monday night. And with the turnovers, it just kind of kills your team. So the turnover issue for Josh Allen has been kind of like a thing, I guess, going back to as long as they've been title contenders. He just hasn't been getting the job done, unfortunately for them. And I know in his post-game presser, he kind of took a lot of blame on himself for a good reason, because if you don't have those turnovers, then the game probably looks a lot different. So when your quarterback is throwing interceptions, then you're pretty much throwing at that point in terms of throwing away the game and giving your opponent opportunities to score. And I feel for Bills fans, because the spot that they're in, it's kind of like put up or shut up time, in my opinion. I feel like they've kind of been knocking on the door for a while now, and I know it's just Week 1, but it's a Week 1 loss against a divisional opponent, and you'll see them again, obviously, but it kind of puts you behind the 8 ball, and you put so much time and effort and energy into kind of surrounding Josh Allen and making sure he's the most successful quarterback that you guys have, but he's costing you guys games as well. So it's kind of like a catch-22 at this point for the Bills. I still think they're a pretty good team. I know their defense is going to be great. I know they're missing Von Miller, who was out for, I guess he's on IR, I'm not really sure. But I know Von Miller, in terms of their pass rushing, bolstering that defense and just making it that much better. I know he'll be joining them soon, but he's out with injury. But the Buffalo Bills defense, they're going to be good. It's just, can Josh Allen correct some of the mistakes that he's making in order to not put his team itself behind the eight ball. He's got a great arm. He's got a cannon. He runs. He pretty much does everything. But I think in the aspect of the game as a whole, for Josh Allen, less is probably more. So, trust your teammates a little bit more. Try to function a little bit more in the structure of, what's being called, play calling. Dermott has done a pretty good job designing an offense that kind of fits Josh Allen and what he's trying to do. Yeah. Unfortunate loss for the Bills. I'd probably put them in pole position to win that division now that the Jets have just lost Aaron Rodgers. I was thinking that the Jets would probably win that division with Aaron Rodgers, and with that defense, it definitely looked like it on Monday. But Aaron Rodgers not being there, he's gone for the season. I think the Bills will probably end up winning it. So I have to kind of have to change my pick. But you can't really predict injuries, and unfortunately for the Jets, that's a pretty big one. And for the Bills, they just got to figure it out. So we'll see how they do coming up in week 2. For AFC's best, it's been a pretty crazy week for them. Hopefully all of them will bounce back. It's just week 1 for all these teams, so not too much pressure at this point. Easy to kind of even that out, get a win, go 1-1, be 1-1 going into week 3, and you're in a pretty good spot. As it stands right now, they all had to hold that L. They are all winless on the season. And for teams that are supposed to be the top teams of the AFC conference, they are not. So yeah, we'll see. It's been an interesting week 1. I love football season, so that was it. Those are the AFC's top teams all being winless in week 1. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think they'll rebound? Do you think they'll bounce back? Do you think that they'll continue to be on this losing streak? Just let me know in the comments below. Guys, I've been Peter Parker, your host. Thank you for watching Foul Line Field Goal. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.